Hello, hello, hello. Oh, that's convenient. The chat just pops right up on the side there for OBS. That's nice. Yeah, this is a very sudden little thing that we're doing right here. Not really sudden. I'd thought about doing this for quite a while actually, and I just now got to it. I've been quite busy actually over the past few days, and over the past few weeks, quite obviously. But I wanted to do this. I wanted to kind of go over, the season, and I have a little slideshow here. There's not much information on the slideshow, but there definitely is a lot that I want to discuss about this year and then going into next season as well. And I'm excited for it. Let's just put it that way. Very excited to see what next season brings, because this season in the Wawa Cup Series was great as well. Obviously, you guys absolutely enjoyed it, and want to just go over, I guess, the victories of the season. I don't know, victories may not be the right word, but just like everything that went right. So I'll wait for some people to get in here before we get going, of course. But hello to Avery and Tanner Parton there. Glad to see you guys here. Caleb Rose. You had a bittersweet final race there, Caleb. I tell you what, that was a lot of fun. That Southern 500 might have been arguably one of the best races of the year, in my opinion. That was such a great race, just from a race standpoint. It was a lot of fun to do that, and huge thanks to Stuart for joining me with that one. That took, I think, 5 hours to edit, I believe. Took a little while, but it was such a good race. Obviously, the championship battle wasn't too intense, really. I mean, Drew Webb kind of had it the whole way through, but the race itself was spectacular. I could not have asked for a better race to end the season, and that's a nice thing about this season in the Wawa Cup Series. We really did not have any races this year that were complete jokes, per se. Everything that happened... Oh, the Sprint Series will be included. Oh, yeah, I'm talking everything here. I'm talking everything, Skylar. Don't worry. But the thing is about that race, it was just such a good race from start to finish. And like I said, we didn't really have many races this year that were complete goofball races. And I think a lot of that has to do with the ratings. That made a lot of these races so much better, in my opinion. I know we didn't have as many close races as we used to have, but that championship battle was very close. Only really because Drew Webb had, 20 moments of all time all season, still managed to win the title. And I'm bleeding. That's lovely. I'm fine though, don't worry. Scratching my leg and all of a sudden, whatever. But yeah, what a great way to end the season. And what a season. I mean, I honestly can't believe I pulled it off, because just about 3 weeks ago, I started my first full-time job. And, yeah, I mean, look, I'm very glad I got it. It's a great job and all that, but it's a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to work. Obviously, it takes a lot of time out of my, my free time to do all of this. And I got it right when this was ending and Trucks and the Pro Series was starting, and there was just so much to do during all of that. But I managed to make it work, and we managed to pull it off, and it was a great, great season. And, wow, it was just a lot of fun to pull this off. Hey, thank you, Josh. Great to see you, Josh, by the way. It's been a while since I've seen you around. I need to get you in the booth for a race. Hint, hint. But yeah, it was such a great season. And I think we can all agree that overall, and maybe not all of us, some of you guys were not as good as others, unfortunately. But I think from just a standpoint of being a fan of the series, and that was kind of the idea behind it, was to make it watchable for everyone, regardless of whether you were involved or not. That's kind of the idea that I had behind it, and I definitely try to present it as such, where you don't have to be involved in the series to enjoy it. And I definitely feel like, we accomplished that to a level this year. And the number one thing this year, we got through the whole season without any hiccups. None of the races were postponed. Everything went up on time. I didn't have a midlife crisis midway through the season like I did 2 years ago and completely quit, and that's something I felt really bad about then. But But to be able to have completed this, makes up for that, in my opinion. And, we were able to do it. And I don't know how busy I'm going to be with this new full-time job now and just how much I'm going to feel like doing. But baseline, I can say there will be a 2024 Wawa Cup Series season. That's the only thing I'm going to guarantee. And we'll get into that with the other series, later on in this live stream tonight. But yeah, that's kind of the first thing, I want to go over with everything. And my leg is bleeding more. I mean, I'm fine. I really am fine. Don't worry. It's not. I'm fine. Don't worry. All right, thank you for a great season already. Obviously you guys make this what it is, and I don't like to focus too much on this, but I thought this was just a cool, neat little stat. Because I love the numbers that go behind all of this and with all the points and everything like that. And this shows how much you guys like this. This is average. This is average throughout all 31 events, not including the Winner's Showdown. I didn't put that in for some reason. That would have drawn the average down a little bit. But from Smoothfest and all 30 points races, the average viewership, just average, at any given time was 11.29, over 10, which is, quite a bit. The average peak viewership for each race was 15.94, almost 16 at the peak of each of these races, and that wasn't the case for all of them. Of course, the Southern 500, we peaked at 20. Daytona 500, of course, was the most watched race. Obviously, it's usually the most watched race, and I think that peaked at 24, 25. And look, on the grand scheme of things, it's not really a big number, but, it shows that there's a lot of people that care and actually watch while it's premiering, which is pretty, interesting because, back in the day, before premieres were a thing on YouTube, you upload the video and that was it. Now, there's a window when that race is going on, essentially. And, a lot of you guys are there for when it's going on. And I love the engagement when the race is going on, just like the engagement we have here with the live streams and all that. But just seeing your guys' reactions in real time is a lot of fun, especially when I know what already happened. Of course, I'm not always available to watch the race with you guys, but if I am available, I do put the race on and see what you guys are saying while it's going on. And that's a lot of fun to see what you guys are saying. Definitely an exciting thing, when a premiere goes up, and, when I know, like when that Michigan race went up, I knew what was going to happen to Drew Webb, and I was just waiting for the reaction when Drew Webb blew his tire at the end there, and it's just like, and too, when I'm, recording these races, I'm thinking, oh boy, what's the reaction going to be on this one, and it's just a lot of fun seeing that engagement from you guys, it's definitely, great to see that you guys enjoy it, and that the bottom line is that you guys have fun with it, and as long as I'm having fun with it, I'm going to do it. But the fact that you guys are doing it, you guys are enjoying it as well, that's also, makes it even more worthwhile. Another stat that we have, 15 different winners in 30 races. Now, that's a pretty low number, but obviously, throughout the season, especially near the end of the season, we got a lot of the same winners there near the end, and the ratings definitely came into play right there. And the big thing for me this season, in terms of just making the whole season what it was the fact that we had the drivers who were going for the championship leading each of these races and being up front in each of these races, and that made the championship battle so much more interesting because the guys who were battling for the championship were up front in each of these races. It didn't used to be that way, and I think that right there was the big reason why the equal rating series just became a little too stagnant to me, because, like, hey, you have all these guys battling for the championship and they're battling in 25th, was not the case. Both Drew Webb and Nicholas Samedeo were top 10 pretty much the whole race in the Southern 500, and then you had everybody else, top 4 in points for 1, 2, 3, 4 in that race at one point. That was fun to see, and just from a standpoint of enjoying the series, not being involved in it, that was a lot of fun. Absolutely a ton of fun to see that. And as someone who doesn't have any stake in the series, obviously, of course, I don't put myself in my own series. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves with NR 2003 offline leagues, if you do it, that's fine. But it takes away a spot, obviously, if you do that. And especially with a rating series, that would be completely unfair. I don't even have my own team anymore. I used to. Don't have that anymore because of the ratings. That would be unfair for me to do that because, I'm seeing what all you guys are doing. And in seeing what all you guys are doing, it would be unfair for me to go ahead and see what you guys are doing and then see what's working, put it in myself. So that's why I don't have my team in anymore. And that's why I also don't release the car set as well. A2, it is many people going, with many different directions with painting the cars and all that. And I want to make sure, that everyone, keeps their respective work protected, I guess. I don't know. But it is still my series, and I don't particularly want anyone else having that and copying it. And then on top of that, with all the ratings attached to it, that's why I've never really released the car set. So I apologize, you don't get the car sets, but you know what? You get to see them in these races, and we'll have another great car set next year for the 2024 season. But yeah, I'm going to be rambling on a lot today, and a lot tonight in this little live stream. I'm going to get a drink here so I don't get my mouth dry, because that's what will happen if I'm not careful. But yeah, what do you guys think? What was your favorite race this year? I'm just genuinely curious what you guys really thought about it. Of course, I know a lot of you guys, absolutely love the ratings and how it ended up working out. But what was the best race? We had 30 races this year. What do you think was the best race? Obviously, I started out talking about the Southern 500, just how good of a race that was, but there were just so many other good races this season, and I'm just curious what you guys think. What you guys liked this season, what you guys didn't like. Yeah, obviously you're gonna like Auto Club, Matt. That was a good race, though. Auto Club was great, and I don't have the schedule yet. Obviously, I base the Wawa Cup Series schedule off of the real life NASCAR schedule. Obviously, that has not been released yet, so I'm still kind of waiting. We'll have to see what the schedule ends up being, but everyone's being so biased with their favorite races here. I like a non-biased opinion, because I know you guys know what a good NR race is. A lot of you guys do races yourself. All right, while you guys discuss that, here we go for silly season. Now, I didn't intend to start this as soon as I did, but it kind of just naturally happened. Here we go. This is what we got so far. The names, the drivers on the left there are the ones who have the opportunity to reserve, and some of them, a lot of them actually, have already chosen a ride for next year or have re-signed or whatever. And then what's on the right are the teams that can return and which ones are returning. I believe I've only yet to hear from 2 teams on whether or not they're returning, of the teams that can return. Of course, we did have, a threshold with how many ratings forms these guys did in order to get the reserve. I think it was 10 for the Wawa Cup Series drivers and 1 in the Chase. And actually, I think that was the case for both of them, for the drivers and the owners. So not every team got the opportunity to return. Hint, hint, Everbell Motorsports. And not every driver got the opportunity to return either, because they didn't do their ratings enough or did not do them in the Chase. And this is one of those things I've said about the activity rules, one of the most disrespectful things that NR Creator can do, and I still don't consider this an activity rule. I'm never going to take someone's ride away during a season, but I do think, it is only fair to those who did keep up with it this season to be able to return next year because they kept up with it. So that's kind of the reason why I did that. And also, too, I want to be able to have new guys come in, especially some Sprint Series drivers. Of course, Avery Alford, the Sprint Series champion, is already signed to a ride next year. We want to make sure, we have at least some level of cars available for everyone to sign up for. I know it's 36, and I tend to keep it 36 teams as well. I think that worked very well. I know that's how it is in real life. 36 charters, 36 charters here, essentially. That's pretty much the way it is. The way it's looking, assuming that all the teams that can return will return, I think it's 14 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 teams. So if all of these teams do return, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah. If all of them return, there'll only be 3 spots left. And owners sign-ups I intend to have in early October. So essentially, for Ryan Durrani and Shane Lake, you guys have until then to let me know if you're returning your team or not. I actually don't think Josh ever got back to me, but I'm assuming you're returning your team, Josh, since you're here. We might as well get that figured out. I don't know why I put that there because I've actually yet to hear from you yet. I know you've been busy. That's why I give a lot of time for you guys to be able to return. So in terms of the races, so let's see what you guys said here. Josh says objectively Las Vegas. That was a great race. Charlotte was honestly one of the better races of the year. It is just a shame that that thing ended in a caution. I think that would have arguably, if it had gone the whole way, would have been the best race of the year. It was a lot of fun. Such a great race. And man, LJ Semedo, man, when is he finally going to get one? He's coming back next year with Titan Fury, but when is he finally going to get a win? That was his opportunity. And I think he arguably could have won that race if it stayed green. Didn't happen. That was a great one. Dover was an odd race. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, Watkins Glen was that was a goofy little race right there. But it was fun as well. And each race had its moments, really. I mean, even the worst race, what I would argue be the worst race of the season, probably was Michigan, because Drew Webb just led every single lap. It had one of the biggest moments of the season that arguably could have taken Drew Webb away from winning the title. But anyways, here's who's returning. Had some surprises with this. Definitely some pleasant surprises and some interesting surprises going on already in silly season. Andrew Miller going to be with NS Racing now, and he's in the 97, not the 98. I messed that up. I'm sorry. Avery Alford, of course, Sprint Series title. Going to move over to Hairgel Motorsports in the number 4. So excited to see Alford in full-time ride next year. I feel bad for Sam and Oskin, though. The way he lost that title, man, that was tough. Blaine Keys going to be leaving Dracoan Racing Enterprises, moving on to Racing Motorsports in the number 41. Neither of Aaron's drivers, neither Christian Master or Eric Monaco, did their ratings during the chase, so unfortunately neither of them got a reserve. But Aaron quickly picked up 2 very strong drivers with Blaine Keys and then Justin Zeidel, as you can see. Brad Stover going to be moving over to Nathan Orman Motorsports, and I know Nathan was very up and down on whether he was going to return his team, but I feel like he's picking up some good drivers here. Brad Stover had a solid year, especially early on with Trackhouse Racing. Still have yet to hear where Brady Mardigal will end up. That's Trey Smith's driver. Of course, Team Williams stays the same with Braden Perez and Brian Webb. Pacific Racing stays the same with Chase Buck and Thomas Troxel. Nothing changing there. Still yet to see where Daniel Paulus Jr. ends up. Drew Webb, of course, returning to Titan Fury Racing. Yet here with Echo Evans Ross and Elijah Gordon, whether they'll be coming back or not. Justin Zeidel joining Blaine Keys at Racing Motorsports. Watch out for Racing Motorsports next year. I feel like that's going to be a great race. That's going to be a lot of fun. A good team. What am I saying? Sometimes I just don't think about what I'm saying. It's going to be a great race, and they're all going to be great races next year, especially with those 2 drivers at Racing Motorsports. LJ Semedo, of course, back at Titan Fury Racing. Great to see LJ back. I tell you, he's been in the Cup Series. He's been racing on this channel for years now, and has still not gotten a race victory on the channel. I'm hoping he can pull one off at some point. Laura Chung, then one of the 2 drivers exiled essentially from Everbell Motorsports, taking over the 55 that Blaine Keys had at Dracoan Racing Enterprises. So great to see Laura get a good ride for next year. Appalachian Motorsports stays the same. Obviously, they had a great year. Logan Williams could have done better in the points, but still won twice, and Nicholas Samadia returning with that team. And he was probably my favorite surprise, during silly season. Definitely love to see this. Ludovic Charette going over to Grattan Autosport. That actually surprised me. It was not on my radar for Stewart to pick up Ludovic like that, but hey, it's going to be a great combination because Ludovic had a great season there for Andrews Racing, which Andrews Racing will return. But Ludovic did an excellent job in his rookie years. Actually, the last driver to sign up for the Wawa Cup Series this year. Still managed to, make it. He was still within mathematical possibility of winning the championship going into the final race, which was definitely impressive. And then, of course, Matt Tuck returning to the Grattan Autosport team. Roberto Crown Jr., of course, you all mentioned Nicholas Samadio coming back to the Appalachian Motorsports team. Of course, he had a absolutely fantastic year, just didn't get a race victory, which that was a bit surprising. But still a great season and almost won the championship. I definitely feel like next year, though, those guys are going to finally peek through and get a race victory. Roberto Crown Jr., they're going the Dracoan Racing Enterprises in the 5. So Dracoan's going to be completely different, but two drivers who I feel like could have had a much better ride under their belt last year or this past year, and are going to have a much better opportunity getting some race victories. Same goes for Rogel Dorn, moving over to the Hairgel Motorsports. Rogel had he outperformed that number 1 machine. I'll tell you that much. Obviously, you see Williams' team not on the returning list there, so that indicates that Full Frontal Motorsports team didn't do their ratings, and that was the case. Rogel Dorn, though, still got that win at Talladega and still drove that thing to even in the final race at Darlington, he was running up front, so great run. You get to hear from Seth Cole and whether he'll return. And, of course, Trinity River Racing still, hasn't signed anybody. Trackhouse Racing still hasn't signed anybody for next year yet either. And Andrews Racing still has open slots as well. Tanner Parton moving to Nathan Norman Motorsports, number 8 team machine replacing Chris Reynolds. And then, of course, Thomas Troxel, we mentioned, staying with Pacific Racing, and Travis Crampton staying with NS Racing. And then Zachary Fitzwater, yet to hear about Fitzy yet, but obviously he's going to land somewhere in a better ride, no doubt about it. And of course, the teams that are returning so far, we got Andrews Racing, Appalachian Motorsports, obviously Dracoan Racing Enterprises, Grattan Autosport, Hairgel Motorsports, Nathan Orman Motorsports, NS Racing, Pacific Racing, Racing Motorsports, Team Williams, Titan Fury, Trackhouse, and I believe Trinity River Racing would probably return. Don't see. He didn't say anything in the chat, so I don't know. Maybe he DM'd me on Discord or said something. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Nah, he didn't. But we'll see if Trinity River Racing does return. I would imagine that Josh would return the team. I hope he does, because he had a solid year with Seth Cole and Trey Wright. Yes, okay, we got a confirmation from Josh. So yes, Trinity River Racing open for business for 2024. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with silly season, and I'm going to take a bit of a break from this, for a little bit. I just need to take a break kind of in general because it's just been so busy working the new job and trying to get all this stuff back, but or all finished up for the year. I mean, we're so close, and then boom, just so much going on the last couple of weeks, but we got it done, and it was good. And like I said, the owner sign-up is going to be early October, and the silly season period will last for a while. But at a certain point, if drivers who have a reserve do not have a ride yet, then they can pick any car available. So that will still be the case. But right now, you do have to have a contract, essentially, an agreement between the driver and the owner. But if you can't get an agreement as a driver, don't worry. You'll be able to pick a ride that's open once the silly season period is over. I'm not sure how long that's going to go, but we'll see how that all goes. Like I mentioned, too, still waiting on the schedule. It'll be a 30-race schedule again. 20 races in the regular season, 10 races in the chase. We'll do the Meliola Smooth Fest in New Smyrna again, regardless of what they do with the Clash next year. I don't know what the heck they're going to do, if they're even going to do it, but we're going to do the Smooth Fest. And we're going to do it in New Smyrna. That was so much fun to open up the season. And obviously, it's a great way to get to talk about all the drivers without having to do it all in one shot. Because you have all the heat races. And, it's a long event. So you get a chance to really talk about everybody. And it was so much fun to do it last year. At New Smyrna, too, which is one of the best short tracks in the game. Baseline, that I&I is one of the best. And obviously... we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But outside of that, outside of the Daytona 500, we know we're going to do that. And the Crown Jewel races, still don't know what it's all going to look like. There's a good chance that I might not bring back Bristol. Just depends on what they do with Bristol. Because if Bristol doesn't have a spring date in any such way, I'm probably not going to return it. But it just depends on what the NASCAR schedule is, because like I said, I like to line it up for the most part. I like for, hey, we're going to say, Nashville this weekend. I like for the Nashville race to be the same weekend as the real life Nashville race. I think, makes sense to do that. You get more excited for it because you're about to see that track in real life later on in the weekend. And, it's not like that every week, of course. We do have a slightly different schedule. But that's what I like to do, and that's why the Cup Series schedule has yet to be released. I did kind of make up a mock schedule, kind of just guessing where they might play stuff, and I did post that in the Wawa Cup Series chat in the Discord, so you can see what that's all about. But we'll just leave it at that. We'll see how it all is. I won't get to it, but excited for it. I don't think we're going to really change anything in terms of the ratings. I think we're going to do it all the same way we did this year. The thing I'm looking forward to is y'all, kind of know what you did and maybe what you didn't do, and you might try something different. We got some guys who did their ratings as drivers, but their owners didn't, who are now in rides that the owners are going to do their ratings. I know Drew Webb and Tiny Fury Racing, they kind of dominated the season. It came kind of late, but you know what? We could definitely see another driver peak up, and Drew Webb almost didn't win it too. So that's definitely something to keep in mind with that. Drew Webb's definitely knows what he's doing. Igor knows what he's doing. But a lot of y'all knew what you were doing. And I think Drew Webb just kind of got a little lucky there at the end. And boy, he got close. But I'll tell you, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And you're wondering, what would replace Bristol? So North Wilkesboro is already on the schedule. We already had a North Wilkesboro race this year, which was also kind of mid, but I think with a little tweaking we can make that a little better. Possibly Montreal. I tested out Montreal, and a lot of it does depend on if the Cup Series does go to Montreal, because I don't really want to do it if they're not going to actually go there, but I was working with it, and it worked out all right. I think we had a pretty solid, test with it. On my end, so we'll just have to see. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. The schedule will come out when it comes out, obviously. Bro, I took like 15 minutes to put this PowerPoint together. It's just something to really just throw it in so that I could have some basis to talk about. So that's kind of the main thing. I know it doesn't look the greatest, but let me tell you, I've been busy, man. I've been busy. That full time job, man. I tell you, hey, and it's good money, but still full time, and I'm busy. But yeah, we'll see what the schedule looks like for next year. And I know a lot of y'all probably want to do Montreal. I want to do it too. We'll just see. It's all I'm going to say about that. All right, now on to maybe not as positive news, and this all does have to do with the fact that I have this full-time job. I don't know what to do with the Wawa Sprint Series next year. Initially, I was thinking about making it kind of like the Turkey Hill National Series in a way. But then I got this full-time job, and then I went through those past 2 weeks where I had the Pro Series, Truck Series, Cup Series, and all of that. And all my free time was essentially spent finishing it up, which, hey, it's fine. We got that far away, and, we all made it work. But I don't want to continue overworking myself. And that's the thing about the Sprint Series for me, because it's not difficult to pull off, but it still does take a little bit of time. And I don't know what to do with it. And I'm curious to think what you guys think and what you guys want for the Sprint Series, because I think it's a great idea. I think having the signups every week is a great idea to have an opportunity to go run in the Cup Series. That's the whole point of the Sprint Series. Was, in a way, it's kind of like Uncharted qualifying, but it's a race. It's actually something with substance, and that makes it a lot of fun. Just throw the cars in, and then boom, you got a 40-car field, and I kind of want to keep it that way. But also, too, I want to throw in some standalone races there as well. So, maybe we'll figure out some standalone races or something like that. Assuming that I do it, I will say, the Sprint Series will probably come back, and honestly, more likely than not, it's just going to be the same as it was this past year. However, I am considering getting rid of the chase and having no, there will be a championship, but not having any locked rides in those last few races. I want anyone to be able to just sign up and kind of be able to, fall into the Cup race if possible. But definitely want to keep doing this for the reason of the Cup Series and for the reason of I know there's a lot of guys who want to be in the Wawa Cup Series that may not get an opportunity to be in the Wawa Cup Series. Well, this is your chance to be in a Cup Series race. And hey, Sam and Austin went out there and won Dover, so that was surprising. But especially early on in the season, these Sprint Series drivers can go on win the Cup races. But definitely, considering a lot of different options for the Sprint Series. And, I wanted the races to be longer, but I don't know if I'll have the time or the effort to want to make the races longer. I know the races are very short in the Sprint Series, and for some cases, it's just like, what's the point here? Especially on the road courses, especially Coda, and Coda was really bad. There were some other ones, the short tracks especially. I mean, actually, in Bristol, we actually did have a pass for the race lead in the Sprint Series race at Bristol. I know Skylar remembers that. But yeah, it's probably going to happen. Don't be shocked if I say it's not. Because I'm 3 weeks into this new job, and I just don't quite know how I'm going to feel once we get to that point, and how much time I'm really going to have on my hands to be able to do it. So, 90% the Sprint Series will happen next year. Probably not with many changes, but I don't know. We'll just have to see what it all goes down. I'll read what you guys are saying here, because I can't process multiple things at once. Try MoSport. I've tried MoSport. MoSport is mid. It is mid. If you mess with the grip enough at Montreal, though, it's actually not that bad, and I actually got a pretty solid race in testing. The Sprint Series was pretty good. The Sprint Series was a lot of fun, actually, because, you had your guys near the end who knew which cars were good and which ones weren't. And that's actually another thing I didn't even put down here. I am considering no ratings at all for this series next year, because I do feel it was a bit unfair for certain people, because there were some owners that didn't do their ratings for the Sprint Series, just a couple. But if we just go complete, equal ratings with this, I don't think there's any problem to that. The only downside is when they go into the Cup race, they're pretty much not going to have a good run, and I want them to at least have a chance at winning. I don't know. We'll just have to see. A lot's on the table. Obviously, I'm open to suggestions. Type them in the Discord, whatever. Be more than happy to listen and hear you guys out. Let's see here. No chase as a whole. We did that no chase in the Cup Series a couple of years ago, actually 4 years ago now. Nathan Baird clinched the championship two races early. And I kind of wanted to do that, but then I realized, you get a situation like that with such a long season, more likely than not, you're going to have, a Drew Webb type situation where someone clinches, which there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with, a driver clinching the title many races early, but also at the same time, it happened 2 years in a row, and it happened at a much wider gap that one year with Nathan Baird, and I'm like, you know what? The chase, I think, makes it kind of nice, and I think another thing about the chase, too, that really worked out with the ratings this year was the fact that all the guys in the chase were good going into the chase. And so you could focus on those chase drivers specifically going in, because it was kind of like, you had that reset. Here are your 10 best drivers. Boom, have at it for the last 10 races. I like the traditional chase. I don't think it worked out as well in the Sprint Series, but I definitely liked it in the Cup Series. I definitely think it's my favorite point system. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with strict points. That's the best way to do it. But in terms of making it exciting without destroying the integrity of the championship, I do feel like that 10-race chase there, strict points from there on out, is the best way to do it, and definitely tend on doing that. I went way too long on that topic right there. Montreal's not... Yeah, Mosport. Yeah, if you had some tire wear. I've never been able to get Montreal to work too well. I don't know. Willow Springs is great, so maybe I got to test out Mosport a little bit more. And I'm looking at for the Wawa Sprint Series, definitely doing some standalone races just to add some more tracks onto the schedule. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and still having the top 4 go onto the Cup race, even if that Cup race is at a different racetrack. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see about that. Title with no wins a race early. He didn't win in a race early. He went all the way to the end. But yeah, I did the we used to do it for the first 6 seasons. We did the Cup Series there back in the day. We did the playoff format, and my goodness, I don't know what I was thinking. Glad we moved away from that, because those points battles are fun as heck. They are so much fun, and had a lot of fun doing it. All right, so here's the next one, guys, and this is a hard one, and I know so many people want this to come back, but I don't know, and I changed the color. I threw this together. The Haas IndyCar Series. This has been a series that I have done for so long, but this year it was so mid. I gotta be honest with you. And I think a lot of that is because in comparison to the Wawa Cup Series, we still have the equal ratings. And honestly, before I had the job, I was considering running the series with ratings. However, after the last 3 weeks, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. Obviously, of course, the Indy 250 is going to happen. We know that. I am going to make sure that happens. That is the biggest race on the channel, bar none. It is the race of the year on the channel. Then it's the Thanksgiving 500, which is the second biggest race, and that's just around the corner. I mean, we're less than 3 months away from that. And then, obviously, the Daytona 500 would be third in line. Obviously, of course, the Indy 250 is going to happen. Now, if we don't do the whole series, I feel like as well, and I just thought about this, we can really focus on that Indy 250, quite a bit, and really, make a bigger deal out of it, not having to run the full season. But I'm curious what you guys think about this series. Do you guys like it? Do you guys enjoy it? Would you guys like to see ratings with it if I were to do it? I'm genuinely curious what you guys think. I think this series did suffer a little bit from the driver list, essentially. I mean, obviously, too, there's only 26 full-time cars. There's not near as many guys in this series, not as many people involved in the series as there are in Cup as well, so that might be part of it as well. But there are definitely certain races that, no one seemed to be interested in, and I kind of just felt that I was forcing myself to do it. And that's the thing about it for me. I liked the series, but also it felt a lot more like a chore. Still enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. It was a lot of fun, and glad we finished it. But it definitely was a second banana to the Wawa Cup Series this year. No question about it. Honestly, it felt like we didn't even do it at certain times. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Obviously, we're going to keep doing the Indy 250. That is something you don't have to worry about. Obviously, that's such a big race. We're not going to get rid of it. Maybe turn it into an IROC series. Well, I got another idea about that. We'll get to that. I actually don't have a slide for that idea, but since you mentioned it, we might go ahead and say something about it. You weren't even planning on bringing your team back, Or bringing back any car, maybe it's short. Yeah, I mean, I feel like having the season even be shorter. Of course, we went from 20 races to 16 races this year. I don't really think that did much. And you see what Brennan's saying about having a traditional unrated league. that's partly why I'm considering not doing ratings for the sprint series. Um, but like, man, it's kind of tough now because we opened Pandora's box with that with those ratings forms, and I got to tell you, I enjoyed it. I know not everyone did because not everyone ran well, but like it made the racing interesting, and that was the number one thing for me was it made it interesting. Um, I don't know. Obviously there's certain races with the IndyCar series that I really enjoy. Um, what is it? Road America especially. I love Road America. Watkins Glen, or those races are always so much fun to do, but no one ever seems to like watch those. Oddly enough, in comparison to the rest of the season. Um, and too, maybe another thing too that I really wasn't thinking about. A lot of the races this year went up on a Tuesday night. Maybe that's just not the best time to upload the races, and I did that to kind of split it all up so that not everything was just condensed into one time and you got 4 days off, trying to split it up and kind of have it even so you got something to look forward to in the middle of the week. That was kind of the idea. And like I said, this whole thing, with the exception of the Indy 250, of course, is very much up in the air. I don't know. What do we do with the Haas IndyCar Series next year? I'd like to do a season, but also, if I'm going to do a full championship, I'd like for there to be at least some substance to that championship. If we're only running 12 races, I don't feel like that's long enough to really determine a champion in a series. So it's kind of like, well, maybe we should just do the Indy 250. I think, and I don't think this is going to happen, my goodness, how much fun would it be if we had ratings for Indy 250 qualifying? Do you know how just bonkers that would actually be? Because you would go into that race knowing who's good and who's not. And, you would have surprises going in. I think that's the one downside to it right now. In terms of qualifying specifically, it's kind of just random. I don't know. I'm just speaking completely from a standpoint of pure entertainment. I know you guys are involved in the series and want to run well, and hey, as long as you do your ratings, you run well. That's kind of the base point of it. But I don't know. I'd love to see that, but also the Indy 250 is a sacred race on the channel at this point. We've done 10 of these things, and I have a hard time adding ratings to it for that very reason, because it is such a special race. And I think that's the big the dilemma that I'm facing with. So. As much as I'd like to see the ratings, man, I don't really want to mess with the Indy 250. Like that would almost, in a way, be like having guaranteed spots in the Indy 500. Maybe not as drastic as that, but that's kind of how it is in my opinion. But it's just kind of tough, and if we're only going to do the one race, realistically, there's no reason to do ratings for one race. Thanksgiving 500 is coming up. There are going to be no ratings. Everything's going to be equal for that race, and it always will be. But if, obviously, it'll be custom cars, full custom. We'll do the teams for it, even if it's just the Indy 250. And who knows? Maybe, I'll have that car set. I'll have some drivers. Maybe we'll run a couple of races just for the heck of it. Maybe. But I can't mess with the Indy 250 any more than I have. Obviously we got the single car qualifying, which is that is so much fun to watch. It's so intense, and just in real life too. And we always make sure we have a bump day, so there'll be 36 entries for the race, but only 33 spots in the race. And I know that's some guys get cut out. Thomas Troxel, my man. That was a rough go at it for him, but you know what? There was so much drama involved with that, and it was just so intense, and I love it. I absolutely love the single car qualifying for Indy 250. It's a lot of work to do single car qualifying, but I have refined it a lot over the years, and I have been able to make it a little bit simpler on my end. But yeah, the main point of takeaway is the Indy 250 is not going anywhere. We'll absolutely have the Indy 250. Just don't know about the season. I honestly say it's probably a 25% chance we do a series next year. Just depends on how I feel. Depends on how you guys feel, what you guys want. We'll just have to see how it goes. Will the Freedom 50 come back? That's a good question. You need to grab a drink. Mm. I intend on the Freedom 50 coming back. Um, However, I don't think I'm going to make a new car set for that. I think I'm just going to use what I painted for this year. That was a banger race too. I think the thing for the Freedom 50, and I like what I did this year, is the 3 drivers who failed to qualify for the Indy 250 ran in that race as well. So there was at least a bit of consolation for those who failed to qualify. So yeah, that's definitely probably going to come back as well. Indy 250 week is just, that's one of the biggest weeks on the channel, and I absolutely love doing it every year. And the thing is, going to the Indy 500 itself, I have to do it all in advance, and it's a bit of a time crunch with that because, working and all this other stuff, and then I gotta, pack and get ready to go out to Indy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, but I don't think, regardless, I think, of whether we do the series or not, the Freedom 50 is still going to come back. I'm glad I brought that race back. That was a lot of fun. You guys absolutely loved it, and it's just one of those races, just, it's only 20 laps, but I think, I definitely think, too, as I said earlier, if we don't do the series, that makes the Indy 250 just bigger, in my opinion, because that is the race. That's the one thing, and, we can have a lot of fun with that. And honestly, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm not going to guarantee that this will be a thing. And, record this now and bring it back to me, later on when I go back on this to prove to me that I said this. If we just run the Indy 250, I would highly consider going owner-driver with this. Maybe. I don't know. It's a lot of people I know that want to be involved, but, maybe we'll do it in such a way where you get to choose everything on your car and drive. Maybe. A big maybe. I know owner drivers are things that don't really happen, and I just thought about that too. I mean, maybe. Just maybe. But that's my last slide. And I can talk for a little bit longer too if you guys have any questions, any ideas. Thank you again. Like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for just all the support over this year. And to be able to fully put together the Wawa Cup Series, that I can't believe I did it, actually. It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed the heck out of it, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't. And I'm going to say this now too. When I started this season, when I started the Wawa Cup Series earlier this year, I intended it to be my last season. I intended to go through this season, and then the end of the 2023 season, I was going to hang it up and just do special events. But I had so much fun doing it that I decided to go ahead and do another season for next year. It feels great to have completed that. There is probably 2 days. There's definitely over a day worth of footage and races for the Wawa Cup Series. Over a whole day. If you watch the Meliola Smooth Fest, if you started right now, watch the Meliola Smooth Fest all the way to the finale race, it would probably be Friday morning before you finished it. And we did it every single week. You guys did the ratings. You guys who did the ratings, and you made it what it was. And it was so much fun. I cannot thank you guys enough for making what it was. And you guys obviously had a blast with it as well. I mean, we struck gold with this. We really did. And I know so many other NR leagues have done ratings before and have had, this whole fictional universe. I like to, keep this a game. And I'm not, personally not a big fan of making it like an alternate universe per se. I feel like, you can sometimes get carried away with that, and, it becomes this whole thing, and people just take it too seriously. we did not have that issue. No one took it too seriously. No one took the races too seriously, really. And it was like it was good. It was chill. And I like to treat it as a video game. And I think doing that makes it actually more intense, because then, there is something at stake that's very much there. I mean, obviously, too, of course, it's just a champion. No one really gets anything. But, like, you have the ratings. You treat that as something within the race. Like, that's very real, and those ratings affect what's going on. And we discuss that in such a way of you yourself submitting that ratings form and not, oh, this driver's been working on its development. I like to treat it like it actually is. And I think that makes it more enjoyable, at least to my perspective, because, I feel like, too, being able to have that connection of, like, what it really is just makes it a little bit more personable and all that. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just spitballing here. But, like, don't do injuries or anything like that. I'm not a fan of that. It's a video game, and I like to treat it as such. And I think that makes it even more fun because, knowing what it actually is, you can really, like, work it into a storyline, and I think it works out very well. So, like I said, the Wawa Cup Series was such a blast, and I look forward to next year. It's going to be a lot of fun, and especially now that we've had a full season under our belt, we know who's good, we know who may not be as good. We got new drivers in new places, and we still got a lot to figure out, of course, in terms of the drivers and the owners and all that stuff. We'll get to that, of course. We got plenty of time before we get to that moment, but I gotta say, it was a lot of fun. And I can't thank you guys enough for being here along the way and enjoying it all season long. And final thoughts, guys. Anything you gotta say, let me know. And any suggestions you might have. Obviously, I may not agree with every suggestion, but I would absolutely be welcome to discussion and making it, even fine-tweaking it a little bit better. I think, like I said, what we did this year was it was probably the best series that I've ever put together. And you guys made that work by doing the ratings and all of that, and you guys all had involvement in that, and so it wasn't just me. You guys were all part of that as well, and if no one did their ratings, would not have been as good. The fact that you guys did those ratings made it so good. In fact, you guys just enjoyed it. It's just such a blast. I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years now. I've been doing it for a long time. And if you were with me a couple years ago, you may remember when I just quit mid-season and I lost the love for it. This, and you guys just being involved the way you have, I gotta tell you, you guys made me love it again, and I don't know how long that love will keep on going, but you know what? I'm so thankful for you guys for just making it what it is. You guys made it what it was. You guys make the Wawa Cup Series what it is. I put it together. I know I put all the work together, but if it would not be what it was without you guys, and I can't thank each and every one of you enough for that. So yeah, thank you. Thank you. Drink to that, all right? Thank you. This is just a cola. I don't actually drink alcohol, by the way. But I am a bartender now, so make those tips. It's pretty nice. Nathan, thank you for reminding me. I don't have a slide for this, but I was thinking, and am considering, and hang on. Well, let's do this. Let's make sure, hold on. Make sure that I don't end up showing you guys, like, the ratings or something for a race. We got the Wawas, no, right here. And I don't know if I'm going to call it this or not, but I'm thinking about doing an XRX series, doing like 4 races, nothing too crazy, in January, because normally January we're not doing much. This is what I got so far, and this will change, of course, as time goes on. And I want to hear what you guys think. So we got 10 drivers who are kind of full-time in the series, in the 4 races. Obviously, we already got some guys put in place there because Drew Epp, of course. Sam Adio, runner-up, obviously got to put him in. Troxel's 3rd place. Luna Lona, the IndyCar champion. Avery Alford, the Sprint Series champion. Put the Truck champion, the Pro Series champion in there. Matt Tuck, 4th place there. And Gutierrez won the Indy 250, thanks 7500 champion. But this is where I kind of want to play with it a little bit, is have you guys every week pick a driver who's not already on the list, and myself pick a driver. And then we do it just like SRX, where you have the 2 heats and then the feature, and we just have fun with it. I didn't unfortunately get much of a chance to watch SRX this year. Just the nature of it. I actually forgot that it was on half the time too. So there were times where I was home and I could have watched it, and I wasn't doing anything, and I just completely forgot. Oh wait, SRX is on tonight. I mean, Thursday night at 9 is kind of a random time, you know. But the one race I did watch, and I think it was the second Stafford race, I'm thinking to myself, this is fun. We should definitely like put this together. So it's, I want to do it. Maybe not. This is a tentative schedule, keeping it at short tracks. And the weekly fan choice would be you once you get chosen, you can't race again. So I'm sorry, Stuart. I'm sorry, but we'll get you in one. Winchester, South Boston, Toledo, New Smyrna. Some of the better short tracks. Obviously, that Winchester race that we had on the Rowdy Energy Pro Series last week was pretty insane. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe we can do this. Maybe not. I don't know what you guys. I would say no. You guys would love it. And it's been a while since I've done something like IROC. I don't know what mod I'd use or whatever. It's still, a little ways off because I'd planned to do this in January, when there's not much going on, of course. But yeah, we'll just have to see. But thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you again. And I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate all that you guys, have done just supporting the channel and all that. And we know another thing too, and I already made a video on this when it happened back in, was it April? We hit 1,000 subscribers, and I was telling myself, that was kind of like the ultimate goal. And we hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's like, numbers don't mean much really, but like it's cool. It really is that we've gotten to that point, and yeah, that's all I got. I don't know what else to say. I appreciate all you guys' comments, and everything, and like I said, I've had a lot of fun with this, and I'll look forward to keep on doing this. We'll have the truck series on Friday night from Richmond, and we'll keep on going with the truck series and the pro series throughout the fall. Hope you guys enjoy that. I think you guys have enjoyed the pro series quite a bit, actually. I'm surprised how many of you guys watched last night's race, even though I messed up the time. I can't, I really pushed the limit on that one. I literally edited it the morning it went up. But yeah, that's all I got. You all have a great night. Thank you so much for all the support throughout the whole year. I say that a lot. I didn't mean it. I legitimately mean it. You guys mean a lot to me, and my life is a lot better because of you guys. I mean that, and hopefully I can help. I help your life a little bit as well. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got. You all have a good night. And like I said, if you have any questions or concerns or anything, suggestions, type them in the Discord. I'd be more than happy to explain or answer or whatever for you. I'm always there and always ready to be able to answer. You may not be always there. There are times where I'm really busy, but definitely let me know what you're thinking. Because we got something great here. And, we can just fine tune a little bit. It can be even better. And you guys all make it what it is. So yes, I'm going to stop rambling on, let you get to your night. Thank you guys so much. You all have a good one. And as always, I will see you guys later.